Television journalist Soledad O'Brien is well known to news viewers. She worked for years for CNN and other networks. She now hosts Matter of Fact, which is on after Upfront in Milwaukee and across the country. Our parent company, Hearst Television, produces the program. She visited Milwaukee last week, and I had the chance to sit down with her. We talked about the state of journalism, the changing role of journalists, and why she calls out the president on Twitter. You're really vocal on Twitter. One of your latest tweets, you called President Trump a moron.
Well, look at the clip.
How do you justify that as a journalist?
Well, I would say look at the clip. And I'm very clear about my opinion on Twitter. The end of that conversation was the president doesn't understand the term MOU. And so we will no longer say those words. We'll use another word because the president cannot grasp that this is actually a contract. That should scare the absolute crap out of people. And this is, of course, example number 5,000,010 over the last couple of years.
Why not just share the clip, though? Why go that second step of calling him a moron?
Well, I think for me, the way I use social media and Twitter is to really share my opinion. I'm not a reporter, certainly on Twitter, although I do joke all the time that Jack should make me the race reporter. But I think just putting out clips for my perspective is always about giving some kind of context, giving information. And so on Twitter, I absolutely share my opinion.
So do you think that's changed with this administration, or have you always been so vocal as a journalist about your opinion?
I think what's changed for me is really how I look at journalism now. I think I probably use Twitter more than anything to analyze and assess what I think is good journalism and what I think is bad journalism, and really highlighting examples of things that I think people do not do well. Because unfortunately, a lot of how things are framed, I think, become very problematic. Right? Without giving context and without really explaining something, you can elevate a conversation as if it has a certain amount of authority, and I think context is important.
And you called the president on Twitter a racist and a bigot.
The president is a bigot. I mean, again, I think that you see media very unwilling to say things that are obviously true. If someone says something bigoted and something racist over a very long period of time, people trip over themselves. They almost do gymnastics to not say that person is clearly a bigot. Here's a list of statements. So for me, the more interesting question is, why are people so reluctant to point this out? Why is it more challenging to call someone a racist than the person themselves being a racist or a bigot? The president is clearly a bigot. All you have to do is look over the last 20 years. I mean, and obviously I covered President Trump before he was president when I was in New York. There's no question about it. It always bothers me when journalists do these gymnastics to avoid saying he lied, something that's clearly a lie. Right? If your child came home late at night and you said, "Where were you?" and they said, "In the library," and they weren't, you wouldn't say, "Well, that is factually incorrect," or "You are misleading." You'd say, "That is a lie." And I think when we don't call things out, we don't call them as they are, again, you start normalizing behavior. The president's statements are bigoted statements, clearly. Period, full stop.
What about someone who says, well, then you must be biased, you must not like the president, and now I can't trust your coverage of the president?
I think if I sat down with the president, people would fully understand my point of view on the president, and also probably have one of the better interviews they've ever heard, because I would challenge him directly. I would ask him about his bigotry. I think a lot of times people who are trying to make sure they keep an open and happy relationship with access to the White House probably bite their tongue a lot. They want to be back there, so they don't say the things and ask the tough questions. I am utterly unafraid to ask tough questions, people. Utterly unafraid. I do not need any more friends in my life. I am good. I got 4 kids and a cat and a husband, and that's plenty. That said, if the president were to sit down, I think he would know exactly where I stand. I think he would find it very refreshing, and I think an audience would say, wow, I really understand where Soledad stands. This is going to be a very good interview.
You said you think that the state of journalism is crumbling. What did you mean by that?
You know, I think that certain parts of it really are crumbling. So certainly from a financial model, all you have to do is look at print journalism across the country, and you see just the sheer numbers of people who've lost their jobs. It's hugely problematic. So just in local print journalism is problematic. But I think if you look at even at the financial model in cable, the idea that 2 people, talking heads yelling at each other is actually a very inexpensive model, right? It doesn't cost anything. You're paying those contributors roughly $100,000 to $150,000 a year, and they cycle through. So it's a very cheap way to put a show on or cover an entire day. So you end up having people who are politicians talking about climate change when they're not climate change scientists. And so I think when you're informing the public about important things with people who are paid talking heads to just ramble on about things, any issue, I think that's the start of crumbling journalism.
We also talked about how she thinks journalism has changed over the years, plus what she wants for her program, Matter of Fact. You can see my entire interview with Soledad O'Brien on our website. Look for it on the Upfront section of WISN.com. Matter of Fact airs after Upfront on WISN 12 in Milwaukee. Today, they're bringing you a special edition from Puerto Rico. Next, the Democratic governor proposes something he knows Republicans will never pass. So why do it?